It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, welcome to another weekly edition of A Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And we got to tell you how thankful we are you're tuning in once again this weekend on Cup of Coffee. We're going to talk about 4th of July. Can you believe 4th of July weekend's here?
No, I can't. I mean, it's like, it's here. It's hard to believe.
And our good friends over at Expo, they always do that great rundown of all the fireworks on land and on water. We've got that, plus we'll talk about our exclusive firework provider and partner, Kovacs Fireworks. Got some really cool giveaways going on. And 3 of the bigger developments and projects at the lake. We got some updates. First, the Lakewood condo with the Oasis at Lakeport. Big article came out in the KC Star. We'll kind of break that down. Osage Nation gives a response on the resolution of support no from City of Lake Ozark, and wasn't much of a response. We'll talk about
interesting,
that. And all of a sudden, KRMS News reports that the Outlet Mall, not really a done deal, still waiting to close with the developer, the investors, and Gary Pruitt. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. But listen, Slumberland Furniture has their 4th of July bash going on right now. I'm talking like 60% off of mattress sets and bedding sets, and you got living room sets, all kinds of crazy deals. And you know who knows more about that than me?
Daryl Cunningham.
Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture. We're in the midst of our 4th of July sale. You need to come in and check out all the great deals. We have specials for every room of the house. And don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. We also have some great deals on financing. Check us out, Slumberland Furniture. We're bringing happy home.
I am having a hard time believing, obviously Daryl told us it's the 4th of July blowout right here at Slumberland at the Lake, but meaning, man, it's 4th of July. Didn't we just start 2023?
Yeah, it seems like, we still should be in springtime, and then all of a sudden here it is, July 4th. Wow, we've gone from winter to summer really fast.
And another thing I noticed, did we plan this shirt?
Oh, wow. Look at that. We're blue today, huh?
We're blue. I love it.
Red, white, and blue, baby, for America.
For America. Or that old song, I'm blue, I'm a dee, I'm a da. Okay. Anyway, so Lake Expo, every single year with the 4th of July, they put out their incredible rundown fireworks all over the lake, by boat, by land. You go to lakeexpo.com or check out their Facebook page. They have an entire rundown, everything starting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the way into Monday and Tuesday on the actual 4th. They're all over the place, and so you can see that entire rundown. And I also noticed when I was looking at the rundown on Lake Expo, did you see where Missouri ranks for firework consumption each year?
I did. I saw that. I couldn't believe it. I think Missouri is number 1 in the nation for fireworks, right?
Isn't that wild?
That is wild. And apparently it's a Midwest thing because Nebraska's number 2 and Kansas is number 3. But Missouri, number 1 for fireworks. The state of Missouri imported $125.8 million in fireworks in 2022, number 1 in the nation.
Per capita, that's $20.40 per person in the entire state. And like you said, the article mentions it's probably a Midwest thing, because if you look at some other states, like the lowest ranked state, Massachusetts, the entire state imported a meager $48,879 in fireworks. Matt Sutcliffe spends that in a weekend.
Yeah, he's greatness, isn't he?
He is. And a lot of people don't know he does the fireworks as well. He'll be busy this weekend. I thought that was interesting. We do love fireworks here in the Midwest, but I would have never guessed, if you said what state leads in firework consumption, I would not have guessed Missouri.
I have fun with fireworks because, the geese like to come up and crap on my lawn all the time. So I'm tossing fireworks at them to get them out of there.
Those little
get them back in the water,
dynamites.
Man. Get off my lawn, man.
That's funny. And we got those courtesy of our friends at Kovacs Fireworks. And Kovacs, the exclusive provider and partner of fireworks of us here at Lake TV. They've been doing it since 1988. Kovacs Fireworks, they offer the largest selection of fireworks, from artillery shells, those big box units, commercial grade displays, and what I love is a ton of stuff for the kiddos. But they also offer the lowest prices, and here's why. Because they've got buying power at their different locations, and they buy manufacturer direct, and so they have awesome savings they pass on to you, and all of this is right inside their climate-controlled indoor showroom. Now, they're in Lori off Sherman Drive, right off of Highway 5. And if you're coming from Sunrise Beach, you need to look for that billboard and then turn right next to the windmill. And if you're coming from Lori, it's tucked away right behind Lake West Marine right there. Now, you got to look for that windmill. Now, Chris, they're open every day now until the 4th of July. They open at 9 a.m., stay open late till 11. And you're going to want to enter in-store their Godfather giveaway. They announced the winner that July 2nd. It's massive.
Okay.
And you can also check out Lake TV's massive giveaway on Lake TV's Facebook page, and we're also going to name the winner of that on the 2nd. That's Kovacs Fireworks in Lori, the most trusted name in fireworks at the Lake of the Ozarks for the last 35 years. Again, look for the windmill, and when you stop in, make sure you tell them that Uncle Chris and Wild Will sent you in there. And they've got everything.
Yeah, they do. It's a big, that is a big store. Like you said, climate controlled so you can get out of the heat and everything. You pretty much find whatever you want to find in there. It's pretty greatness.
And also, have you ever been in a fireworks store or stand and you look at the firework and you're like, oh, what does this thing do? Mm-hmm. They've got these things set up all over their showroom, little scanner gun. You scan the code on the firework, and then on their big TVs, it shows you a recording of exactly what that firework does when you set it off.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you get to try before you buy, essentially.
How about that?
So all that at Kovacs Fireworks in Lori. All right, so on to our next local story. We've been talking a lot about the Oasis at Lakeport and the Lakewood condos, really a point of contention and controversy at this point. Are the condo owners getting pushed out? Are the deed owners informed? Does the board of directors for the HOA at Lakewood Condo, are they staying silent? We don't know. Osage Beach has been under a microscope for their involvement in allowing the TIF and the redevelopment agreement to pass. The condo owners are starting to speak out, and they don't seem happy. And the developer is saying the HOA board of directors is just ghosting everybody. And all of this kind of leads to a national media outlet, the KC Star, kind of painting a sob story for the Lakewood condo owners.
Yeah, it's turning into, and this is pretty normal for big developments like this, big business like this. Stuff like this is very normal. You got the media wars, the information war, we're right, they're doing wrong, and stuff like that. So now the latest salvo in the war is coming from the condos, and somehow they got hooked up with the Kansas City Star, who did a big piece on it, found some of the condo owners, to get some of their thoughts. So like Tina Wiley, one of the condo owners, has owned a timeshare Lakewood Resort for 14 years. And now after a developer won approval from the local officials, as you know, to do the development there, the story says she hasn't heard anything about what that means for her vacation getaway. She doesn't know what's happening with the condos. So the story goes on to say the developer has said gaining control of the timeshares property, which sprawls across several lakefront buildings, is key to building out the project. It occupies what will be the water park portion, that indoor-outdoor water park thing. So crucial, the developer says it would kill the project without it. That's some interesting information right there.
Certainly interesting.
Yeah, okay. So far, only a fraction of more than 1,000 timeshares have been acquired by the developer. Okay, so we'll go with 1,000 timeshares. According to the story, only a fraction of those have been bought out. Several timeshare owners contacted by the Kansas City Star said they haven't heard anything from their board of directors. Okay, so it's not that they're not hearing anything from the developer. They haven't heard anything from their board of directors that oversees the complex, or the developer who is looking to buy them out. So it seems like they're kind of in the dark. This owner, Wiley, said, I feel like they're going to push us out, which is interesting, and of course they talk about across the country, timeshares or this and that. Those things are kind of dangerous to get involved in because they're hard to get out of, apparently. I've never done that. Developer Tega Hoff, one of the lead developers of the project, said the timeshare board previously agreed to sell the entire resort After agreeing on an $8 million price, the board said it was uninterested in selling. So they agreed, then they unagreed. Takeoff
Which
said,
is interesting to me, because that's something that hasn't gotten a lot of light shed on it.
Yeah.
But the developer, Jet Tagethoff, had said that. Like, listen, we had a deal done, and they said, okay, now they're saying we don't want to sell.
Yeah.
What changed with the HOA board of directors, and why are they not telling us?
I can tell you what changed. They saw money, going, oh, hey, this is cheap. We should hold out for more money, probably, I'm guessing.
But it shouldn't come from them.
There.
It should come from the majority of the deed owners, which they're not really communicating
Apparently,
with at this
they're
point in
not
time.
talking with the deed owners, because this one owner said, we haven't heard from either side, really.
And when they reach out, whether it's to the city, when they reach out to the city, they get a letter back from the legal team of the developer. And when they reach out to their HOA board of directors, they're getting nothing back. I'm getting nothing back. And so as far as the city's concerned, they're saying, hey, we're getting out of the way here. We're literally giving them till the end of the year to handle that negotiation. And if they don't have it, they're going to lose their funding, their tax breaks, their TIF, the redevelopment agreement benefits. But the weird thing is, now the developer around that property can start building. They already have. They're tearing down.
Yep.
Meaning, how attractive is it to keep a deed there when you know there's no improvement, nothing going on around you? And so I would say the condo owners are now feeling like the city has helped the developer push and rush this process.
Right.
And now the city's kind of saying, well, hey, we're not saying it's done. You've got till the end of the year, but you gave them a huge upper hand and an advantage by allowing them to go ahead and move forward around the property.
Yeah.
Calling that area around it blighted, that's what got some concern, and it got some concern even from our own commissioner, Ike Skelton, who didn't like the blight status. He said, now we're trying to blight open property that has nothing on it and lakefront property at that. The way the blight statuses are, you could darn near blight a ham sandwich. And so our presiding commissioner, not happy, and I have to agree with them on that. And then you look at the school. Gail Griswold, president of Camdenton School Board, said that it could drive up enrollment. That was a concern when they put in the development off of Nichols before they broke ground there.
Yep.
And it's the biggest school district at the lake, but the incentives they're going to get are going to deprive the Camdenton School District of much needed revenue. And so you've got some bigwigs, some influential people that are big time players and involved in the biggest sectors, the biggest organizations in business at the lake, who aren't necessarily for this. And now you have this bombshell drop by the Kansas City Star. My question is, what do you think the city of Osage Beach is feeling right now?
Right, they're kind of between a rock and a hard place on this, because the city would love to have the development because it would be a lot more revenue for the city. On the other hand, they're hearing a lot of negative stuff from locals and the condo owners and stuff like that. So they got to play smart in between, but that's a tough place. And as is normal in situations like this, you're getting a lot of double talk, right? Especially from maybe the condo association and from the developer, because of course, they're playing a public, game to make sure they look good in this. So we told you earlier, that the developer said that the water feature is so crucial it would kill the project without it. But then here, later on, Tagethoff, the developer, says regardless of the status of the timeshares, Tagethoff says the Oasis at Lakeport would forge on. He says, at the end of the day, I own all the land around them. We're going to continue on doing our development and continue to acquire as many units as we can. So he says here, he's forging on. He'll build around the condo, which actually, if you're a condo owner and you got that huge resort all around you, I would think that would make your property even more valuable. The problem with that is you're going to have to pay higher taxes.
Would it though? I mean, you're right in the middle of it. Do you want your living space to be right in the middle of a noisy entertainment district with water park and amusement park and parking garage and restaurants and shopping? I mean, I'm not necessarily against it, but when you sit in a quaint, quiet lakeside area like these people have for so long, they're not really having a say-so on what their future is looking like. And I think that's where the issue is. But based on what you just said, Chris, would it seem like the developers almost feel confident one way or another they're getting access to this condo? Because they know if they don't get the condo, this project's dead. If they don't get the super TIF, this project's dead. Yet, He's saying we're trucking full ahead. So does he know something that we don't?
Yeah, well, obviously he knows a lot more about this than we don't. Is this thing going to be profitable even if they don't get the TIF? Is it going to be profitable even if they have to build around the condos? We don't know what their studies have said, but my guess is their studies have said it's still going to be a boon. They're still going to make money on it. They're just good business people. They're trying to make as much money as they can, and if they can get the state to help them build it, they're all for that.
But if that's the case, if you're still able to build it and you're still able to be profitable, why the heck would a TIF ever be considered in the first place?
Because they'll make more money.
Yeah.
They get the state's money, so that would save them what? I don't know, $300 million. That's $300 million that goes into their bottom line, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers. I know
either.
the project itself is looking to be a $360 million project, and I know the first disbursement of the TIF money was supposed to be $58.3 million.
You should just write them a check for $300 million. You got that kind of money, dude.
Would you give me access to your checking account again?
Again? I didn't know I had it before.
Well, you're about to find out the hard way. All right, so that's going to be interesting, and at this point, it's no longer, just us or Lake Expo asking questions. When you get an entity like the Kansas City Star and that many eyeballs,
yeah.
And the problem is, for the city of Osage Beach, regardless of what they feel they've done and how they followed their order of operations, you have a lot of people that subscribe to and watch the KC Star that have ties to Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And they do not have the time to look into the details of this development, all of the meetings, a TIF agreement, and all of the stuff that's been going on. And so when they see this from the KC Star, this is not going to paint the city of Osage Beach and developer Tegethoff in a good light.
And think about it, a super TIF means it's a statewide thing, right? And if you're getting stories from Kansas City negatively, then there's going to be people in Kansas City going, well, we're not going to vote for that, right? So this is a big salvo in the information war going on. By the way, in the resort office, some have been reassured that the property is not for sale, the condo property, according to the story. Paula Dabe, a hair salon owner from Illinois, says everyone's talking about it. Everyone has their own idea of what they've heard. She bought a floating week timeshare for about $6,000 30 years ago, right? And when she stays at Lakewood, she pays maintenance fee of about $753 a week when she goes there. So that's kind of what we're talking about, what these condo owners are paying when they stay there. $750 a week covers ongoing upkeep and property taxes, and she owns 2 timeshares there at Lakewood. So you kind of see, she bought that 30 years ago for $6,000. You know that's a whole lot more expensive now. So not sure what the timeshare would cost, but just $750 a week just to stay there when the weeks you do stay there.
Right. I mean, that's about $100 a day, but she did say we consider that a bargain because when we've shopped other nightly rentals and condos to rent, you're looking at $300 to $400 a night. So a week is $2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah.
And before we move on, one thing I wanted to do is that $8 million number.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see, just for laughs and grins, or I guess you'd say something different.
Let's not say that.
No. Okay. So $8 million is what they said they offered and had been accepted, and then they went back on.
Yeah.
I've heard the term 1,100 is how many deed owners. I don't know if that's accurate. I mean, that seems high.
It's around 1,000, yeah.
But let's just do 1,000 deed owners at $8 million. Each person would be entitled to $8,000. And she's told me, either that she was quoted, this owner, she paid $6,000 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You're telling me that it's increased by $2,000? So that does not seem like fair market value if there are 1,100 deed owners.
It would seem to be a lot more than that. So yeah, I mean, $8 million would have been the developer getting off way cheap, right? They need to go up on their, and I'm sure that's what the condo association was thinking. We're stupid here if we go for $8 million. We need to hold out for $80 million.
And how can
like
the board of directors accept an offer from the developer before that is discussed and presented to every single deed owner?
Yeah.
From my understanding, one deed owner can say they don't want to sell, and then a wholesale cannot be done, from my understanding.
Wow.
Now, I'd have to find out more about that. So I don't know how the board of directors would be in communication and negotiations without the deed owners being privy to that information and having an opportunity to say yay or nay.
Yeah.
But so lots to still be learned about this. I still love the idea of an amusement park at the lake with parking garage, but I want it to be done right. I want it to be done where it protects the interest. And, you know, I do know the city has been diligent, but I think they've missed some steps here. And now they're in this situation where they're going to have a lot of people to answer for, and they're going to have to maneuver carefully.
It's so hard, you know, and you got to give, you know, the city credit for trying to deal with this the right way. I think they are. I think they're probably doing a good job. You're in the middle of two, you know, warring factions here, and they're trying to kind of play mediator and do the right thing. Plus, I'm sure they want the development because it'd be good for the city of Osage Beach. So we'll see how that goes. I think everybody's doing an all right thing. This is all normal in these big developments, but you just have to stay on top of it and see what they're doing.
Hey, I do want to mention back in May, Skyview Partners, they were part of a big entertainment district development in O'Fallon, Missouri. That was a smaller scale project, but
pulled completely out of it,
And so that is just worth noting when you look at if they don't get their way from the city and they don't make exceptions and rules that attract the developer, sometimes the developer, not saying Tegethoff has a history of doing that, but oh wait, just a couple months ago. And so things to be concerned about and look at, and I think the city has been diligent. They need to keep being diligent for many reasons, but we'll keep you posted on that because I don't think that's the last thing we've heard of this.
No, there's a lot more to come there.
Just getting started. Okay, so I reached out to Osage Nation. You remember last week we talked about the city of Lake Ozark had tabled the resolution of support, and then they had come back and it was close. It was 3-3. Mayor Newberry said no, and so they did not offer the resolution of support. So I reached out to Osage Nation and I asked what that made them think, and they got a statement from their CEO, Kimberly Pearson. As you see there on screen, our plan is to bring a world-class entertainment district, It went on to say, we are pleased by the growing support for this project, which we attribute to our commitment to transparency and listening to citizens, business leaders, and public officials who may have questions about our investment in the community. That's where I'm going to call it big BS for two reasons. First, it's the exact same quote we got from your former CEO about a year ago when we reached out to you.
Wow.
Second, you can't be pleased by the growing support for your project.
Because there is no growing support for your project.
It's a dying amount of support, and they attribute their commitment to transparency, listening to the citizens, business leaders, and public officials. Okay, that's where you lost me. Because we know now at this point in time, the city of Lake Ozark is not going to offer a resolution of support because Osage Nation, you're not telling us anything. Since this initial rendering was released and it's going to be a $60 million project, which another thing, how are you going to build that for $60 million?
That seems to be awfully low,
I'll call BS a second time, but not saying anything about shared resources, redevelopment plans, timetables, roads, bridges. How about the oil issue? When are you going to start? None of this is being answered from Osage Nation. And I thought that was maybe just what the mayor of Lake Ozark was saying, because he said, hey, since we got this rendering, there's been no cooperation, no answers. We cannot support something we don't have more information about. And so I thought, well, let me reach out to him. I'm sure they'll tell me something. The exact same email they sent me a year ago with a different CEO that doesn't make any sense for the time we're in. We're pleased by the growing support for this project, and I want to note, I'm not against this. As a matter of fact, I think if any development or any casino or any project deserves a break and should get some local support, I think the Native Americans are somebody that should get a break, should get their sovereignty, should get a break in taxes. I mean, if we want to go on that rabbit trail and talk about what do the Native Americans endure. And so, but I'm not taking this, okay? We're how far into this project, and you've yet to show us a second rendering, you've yet to break ground, you've yet to answer any of the concerns from the city of Lake Ozark, from the fire, from the people in the oil sector at the lake. And it's like, you're not getting support. And if you said at the last meeting when their legal defense said, hey, we don't need your support to move forward with this, okay, well, you better be prepared to move forward without the local support, because at this point, if you're not going to offer any information, the support from the locals, which was already mediocre to begin with, you either hated the idea of the casino or you loved the idea of the development and the increase in people coming to the lake. And so we were kind of at a middle ground. Well, you might have started to raise with local support until you just ghosted us and you're asking for a resolution of support with no information in what we're supporting. And so I got to applaud the city of Lake Ozark and Mayor Dennis Newberry and the 3 aldermen that voted no on this, because without any information, I'm glad they didn't support it. And I hope they don't support it until they get some information and some questions asked from these people.
I agree 100%. I mean, how can you give green light to a project you know nothing about and you don't have any power over, basically, because the Osage Nation is an independent, sovereign nation. So you got to get a whole lot of things worked out before you green light something like that. And you would think the Osage Nation would be smart enough to try to be working with the community and being very out front and open about everything to to help this go forward, and they've done just the opposite, it seems like. So wake up, Osage Nation, get smart and turn around and start doing this the right way if you want to get this done.
And please, Osage Nation, talk to us at Lake TV, talk to the city of Lake Ozark. Don't send us to Rich Krismer, their PR guy. He's the one fielding these questions and answers for them, and it's like, we want to hear from you guys. What is next? Can we expect to see a casino development for the Osage Nation at Lake of the Ozarks? That's what we want to know. We want to know how, when, and where are you guys going to do it and how you're going to execute.
That's right.
And how it's going to affect the lake and how you're going to make sure that we have enough resources to accommodate. So it's interesting, but I got to tell you, they have not played their hand the way I would have thought.
I don't think they've been very smart about it at all. And then we've got the mall thing that has a new part of that has popped back up, right?
Which has been a huge story.
Oh my gosh.
Thought it was a done deal.
Yeah.
Correct. They already were talking about maybe getting a TIF for it. It looked like the developer and investment group with Gary Pruitt. Well, KRMS reports that it's a waiting game now, because City Administrator Gina Wood says, we know the mall has been the anchor of the city since the 80s, and we're excited to see what development or redevelopment will happen there. Of course, there's nothing as far as the city has received yet, but we anticipate the developer is working on plans, and however the city is involved, or whatever layer that is, that'll probably be coming to fruition, I would assume, in the upcoming months. So they're positive at the city. They seem confident about this. But the previous reports had indicated that the investor group, which includes, of course, local developer Gary Pruitt, plans to develop that 49-acre piece with a mix of family-friendly businesses, but it's not closed yet. It's still at the closing table.
Yeah, this story was titled correcting a previous story, plans for Osage Beach Outlet Mall in a wait-and-see phase for the city. Corrected story, property has not officially been purchased. So put the brakes on, everybody thinking, oh, this is moving down the line, this is a done deal, and apparently, no, it's not. Hold on, we're still in the waiting game. And she said, Gina Wood said, the city doesn't really know anything. We hope the developer's working on plans, but that's where this is right now. So this is not nearly as far down the road as we might have thought it was.
Right, and so 3 big updates. Of course, we got to know about Oasis at Lakeport and the condos, Osage Nation and a casino project in Lake Ozark, and of course the outlet mall. Like Gina said, it's an iconic property here at the lake, so we'd love to know what's going on there. So a couple of things also going on Lake TV right now. We're working on our doc series. It's set to debut Thursday, July 6th.
That is so incredible what you're doing on those doc series.
We got Andrew, we got Daniel. They're rocking it. We've got some great stuff. You can check out our short behind-the-scenes version of probably the most incredible doc I've ever seen on the lake. And that thing has gotten some serious reach. And then also we did a Holtz family adventure at the brand new Motorboaters Park.
I saw that. That was so cool.
That's right by you, right?
Yeah, really close. And I think that is going to be a really neat thing once it gets going. But I loved your Holtz thing out there that night. That was great.
Largemouth smash burgers, 50 draw beers, all lakeside. And the thing I loved having Brindley is the fenced-in turf area that has cornhole, tic-tac-toe, different games, bean bags, and the sprinkler. Because when you're out having a good time, you want to make sure your kids are safe and secure, and for them to have that iconic lake view with the Niangua Bridge. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
That's cool, man. That's pretty rare to get that. I do think that's going to be a big thing. And your views on that night, last I saw it had like 15,000 views. It was huge.
that is going to be a cool place. I hope they continue to grow. Hey, upcoming events at the lake, we told you they're all over with the 4th of July and the extended holiday weekend. Go to funlake.com/events, or even better, just tune into Weekend at the Lake with David Leatherberry every Thursday through Sunday throughout the day. One more thing on Lake TV. We have a legend on the Community Spotlight show this week.
One of your heroes in the world,
Hey,
right?
Coach!
Coach Gary Pinkel on the Community Spotlight show this week. He's been going into a lot more Hall of Fame, so we'll talk about that, kind of find out how he got the news. A few tears were shed, so it's pretty cool.
I got to end with this week. M-I-Z.
Z-O-U, baby.